Hey you guys, I'm coming to you today on this nice sunny day out here in Annapolis, Maryland. I wanted to cover some interesting stuff I found out today while talking with a client. So first I was talking with this guy and he's around 57, almost 60. Well, obviously a few years. But anyway, we're having a talk about how people overestimate the work they've been putting in, but underestimate the difficulty it takes to see change and get pretty good results. And so we were talking about this in the context of his weight loss and fat loss and the amount of change he's seen in his program. And when he started with me, he was doing cardio on his own at home about a good 4 to sometimes 5 days a week. And he was saying, man, I'm not seeing the weight budging. I'm not seeing any of the pounds coming off. I'm not noticing much leanness in there. And, this is something I really got back into this for, but I'm not seeing it happen. What is I need to do? And I asked him, as I often ask most people, and I said, well, how hard are you working out when you're doing your cardio? Oh, I'm working out pretty hard is what he says. And I was like, well, what's pretty hard? He goes, oh, I'm on there for at least an hour. I'm definitely pushing it. And so I said, okay, I put together some high intensity intervals from a program that I've designed in the past that pretty much got really, really good results for people. And in case you don't know, most people know that, okay, if they're losing, they're doing pretty good if they're losing about a pound to a pound and a half a week. But with him, it was more of a body fat change. He wanted to really focus on body fat, not just on the scale. He wanted to see, am I getting leaner? And so when you're trying to lose body fat, an acceptable or reasonable amount of change is considered to be 1/4 to 0.5% a week, 0.5% being high. So roughly that's meaning you're losing 1% of body fat a month at best. Most people aren't seeing anywhere near that. They're really struggling. They might see the weight change, but the body fat staying the same. So he was doing the interval program I put together for him, and each week the intensity changes based upon the amount of work you get, how much rest you're getting, and the intervals only lasting 20 minutes. And he goes, dude, is this going to be enough? I'm used to doing an hour. Is 20 minutes going to really be enough for me? And so he's about 6.5, 7 weeks into the 8-week program I put together for him now. And he's like, man, I'm looking at, he said, I tried this one the other day and I don't think I can finish it. The rest time is not enough rest. The work time, I'm really getting it. And, I wasn't sure if I was going to pass out, if I was going to be able to make it through there. He says, I will definitely say, even though the intensity is pretty hard, I did not think that I'll be able to see such good results like I have. I'm lower than I was in college as far as my weight. My body fat has definitely come down. His body fat at 57 was, I believe it was around 15.25%. He started off at just about 18. So this is not even two months ago. And so he said, definitely, I would have not expected to see this kind of change. And we didn't do anything to change his diet. The only thing that changed was was the way he was doing these cardio intervals. He says, definitely, I would not expected to see the change happen that fast and like that. But he said, man, I'll definitely say was I really underestimated the intensity that it took to see great results and to see good change in there. And I overestimated, how hard I really was working. And I find that's the case with most people, with most of us. We always overestimate the good that we're doing and underestimate how hard we should be working. And so, the reason I'm doing this video today is to ask you, are you guilty of that? Are you one of those who really overestimate how good you've been doing, but underestimate, the amount of work that it needs to take? Because that's really often the case. We were talking about, hey, he says, after I do those 20 minutes of intervals, I can bring my heart rate down to a low zone and maybe get another 15 to 20 minutes. And I feel like I can go all day with that, because the intervals have gotten my heart and got me into such great shape. And I shared with him what most people don't realize is the level in which he came down to at the end. The marathon runners and triathletes, when they're running these races, not all of them, but the upper echelon, I should say, those who are, leading the pack. When they run those races, these guys are running 5, sometimes 4-minute miles, 5-minute miles at the end of a triathlon. So they're running a marathon at these kind of paces. But for them, the intensity, their heart rate intensity is right at the pace he was at. They're doing that at a 12 to 14 mile an hour pace, but their heart rate is only getting to about 120, 130. So that's a big difference in there. So, but because they've trained so hard that they can do a race at that kind of intensity, they have enough energy at the end for that kind of intensity. And so, I really think a lot of people overlook and overlook but underestimate how hard they've been training and that level of skill. Now, applying that to other parts of life, I think oftentimes we really pat ourselves on the back way too much, way too often, when we really haven't put in enough weight or put in enough energy and enough time and intensity to really see changes when it comes to the lifestyle changes that we're looking to do. I know with me, and this is just being honest, sometimes I think I'll do a great job as a parent in parenting my kids when it comes to their schoolwork and stuff like that. And my wife, who's an educator, will look at me and shake her head and like, dude, you don't get it. That's all right, but that's not enough. And sometimes I'm thinking, what do you mean that's not enough? But she's right. That's a hard pill for me to swallow sometimes when I realize I need to step it up. But life is like that sometimes. We think we're doing great, but really what it's going to take to see those changes, we're nowhere close. We are oblivious. And we really have to question, and I encourage you to question yourself as I question myself. Am I really doing what it takes to get results? And if you don't know, look at the results. Measure the results every couple of weeks. Am I making the changes that I desire or that I'm looking to do? If the results aren't showing there when you measure, then clearly you're not. Clearly I'm not. So I'm not saying this like I've got it all mastered and it's all a piece of cake in my life. I got room to grow. Everybody has room to grow. I'm encouraging you to do so. But just know that, hey, if you're not seeing the change, ask yourself, am I putting forth the right intensity in the right amounts to see the right change? So don't think, okay, because I pushed harder than I did last week or harder than I did last year, then, these results are going to be easy for me. That's not the case. I have a lot of moms who come back to exercise after recently having a baby. And they've heard stories of, oh, well, if you just breastfeed, then the weight's going to come off because you're going to burn those extra calories. And oftentimes they're realizing, it's not that easy just because you're breastfeeding. So no matter what the case might be with them, with you, with myself, question yourself every few weeks. Give yourself a good, accurate way of measuring your intensity. Am I putting it in the way I need to put it in to get the right results? All right, well, that's my encouragement, my motivation, my lesson for you guys today. Focus on the intensity. Focus, are you putting in intensity at the right amount of excellence, not just intensity to be doing it randomly. Am I doing it in an excellent way to get the right results? So leave me some feedback below this video. Let me know what you think about it, and let me know when you assess your life, are you doing it? Are you seeing the results that you're doing it? And tell me about what ways in your life are you seeing that change. It doesn't always have to be with your fitness. It can be in any and every way you think about it. So give me some feedback, and look out for the end of the week. I'm going to have a pretty good training video on what I call my edicts of eating. All right, thanks for checking this out.